Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. Today, I am bringing to you Moments of Hope. I'm Dr. J, the Executive Director of the Hope Center of Carmody Hills. The Hope Center of Carmody Hills is a counseling services founded by Oscar L. Brody, the senior pastor of Carmody Hills Baptist Church. Today, we are highlighting National Minority Donor Awareness Month. This month, we are using this as an opportunity to educate the community about the need for organ transplantation amongst minorities. Today, we have a guest speaker for you. Her name is Malkia White. She is an advocate, a blogger, and the creator of That Girl Needs a Kidney social media campaign. Malkia, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us your story. Why are you here with us today?
Well, my name's Malkia White, and I need a kidney transplant. I started the social media campaign called That Girl Needs a Kidney in 2017 because that is when I learned I was in renal failure, meaning that my kidney functions no longer works, and that requires dialysis for me. And the other treatment for me would be a kidney transplant. So I fight every day for my life, and I fight every day searching for a living kidney donor. It would take approximately 7 to 8 years for me to get a donor from a deceased person. So it would be more efficient for me to have a living kidney donor, meaning a live person who has thought about giving the gift of life through organ donation. So I started the campaign to not only aid in my search for a living kidney donor, but to educate the community about chronic kidney disease and give them a perspective from a patient, the perspective of a caregiver, and to encourage people to take care of their health.
Yes. Thanks for sharing that. Another thing, too, I want to share some statistics with our audience today so that they can also hear the need. So, one of the statistics is 110,000 people are waiting for a life saving transplant. 22 people die each day due to the organ they need not being donated on time. And the last statistic I have is another person is added to the wait list every 10 minutes. Can you tell us a little bit more about those statistics?
Sure.
And how it relates?
Sure. Actually, I have been on the UNOS waiting list for 850 days plus, which means that I have registered to receive a transplant, and that registration is offered by UNOS. UNOS has an algorithm that is used to grant the organ transplantation to patients. And the higher you are on the list, the closer you will be to receiving your transplant from a deceased donor. So I've been on that list, like I said, for 850 plus days, and I'm part of that statistics. I'm one of the 110,000 people waiting for a kidney transplant. Now, the statistics you offered are for people not only needing a kidney transplant, but a lung, a heart, pancreas transplant, any life-saving organ. So, I live with the reality every day that I have to choose to live. And so I depend on my faith first and foremost in God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit because I want to live. I have a legacy that I want to live out. There's so many more things that I want to do. And a kidney transplant would offer me that second chance of life to do all of those things that I want to do in the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you. That's a good reminder. You also have me thinking about what impacts have COVID-19 have on your life as a person that's waiting for a donation.
Well, because my immune system is compromised, I've had to take preventative measures the entire time. These preventative measures of washing your hands and keeping your environment sanitized, that's nothing new to anyone who has kidney disease or has a compromised immune system. So, when I do go outside, I'm always wearing a mask.
Basically, you're saying that the same things people in general, CDC guidelines are telling us is number one, a lifestyle for anyone that needs a transplant, right? You're supposed to do that anyway. But at the same time, it sounds like there's a heightened awareness of the lifestyle, right? So are you seeing like more donation, less donation? Is it harder to even get on the list because of the impact of COVID-19?
The introduction of COVID-19 did slow down transplants. However, I actually know two people that received transplants within the last 2 weeks. So,
Yes.
although the statistics say that organ donation is down during the COVID-19 pandemic, you can't always believe in those statistics. You have to trust in a higher source, and I trust in God that, my kidney will come sooner than later. And if I do continue to wait, I'll just continue my dialysis treatment.
Hmm. Good, good. So tell us some tips for anyone who is watching that needs an organ donation. What positive tips can you share with those individuals?
I would say one, make sure that you're in good physical health, good mental health. Um, if your physical and mental health is in good shape, you are a better candidate for a transplant. Um, because transplant centers actually look at uh, your weight, your blood pressure, so many other factors to make sure that you are in good shape to receive a life-saving organ. They want to make sure that when you receive this organ, you're going to take good care of this second chance at life.
So you were saying that if you could go back and talk about some of the tips, one of those tips was what? What was it that you said?
I would say it's so critical to have a therapist. You may not need a therapist at the beginning of your journey, but along the way, there will be a time when you grow weary and the waiting for an organ. Um, and you need someone in your life that you can go to who is a professional, who can guide you into feeling better about the whole process of waiting for an organ. Uh, there's I did a lot of self-education, and I came across some literature that indicated, patience is a part of the diagnosis of renal failure, and the waiting can be frustrating, and that is so true. And I think it's key that you have a spiritual background, or you have uh, a support system in place to help you in those times when you're weary in the waiting. There's so many times that I rely on scripture. I rely on my caregivers and my friends just to talk about what's going on with me. And of course, speaking with the therapist on a regular basis, it is so helpful in the waiting, because the waiting is a weight, WEIGHT. Uh, and of course, there are good days and there are not so good days, but because I'm choosing life, I know that I will get the transplant that I need in God's perfect time.
Excellent. And so, that was a reminder of how important therapy and a therapist is, even in organ donation. It sounds like you've gotten various tips, various inspirations to kind of deal with the weight. And I think I heard you say there's ups and downs, right? And so if you're talking to a professional, along with your caregivers and your friends and family, all of that helps this journey.
Yes, it does. And I'll also say that my transplant hospital at Georgetown University has a support group, and we meet monthly. We have guest speakers at times, but many times we just have a roundtable discussion about what each person is going through. So, me being a pre-transplant patient, I get to hear this perspective from others who have already received their transplant, or those who may have had their organ to be rejected and they have to go through the whole process again. So it offers some insight and it offers the support of peers that have gone through the process or going through the process and can encourage you as you wait.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. How do people of color, Black people, deal with the stigma of organ donation? They were sharing that, and sometimes in the community, people will say, "Oh no, don't check off an organ donation, because if something happened to you, they're not going to save you, they're not going to help you, so don't do it." So it's discouraging. So how can we push through that stigma? Like, how can you educate us, enlighten us that that's a stigma?
Well, one, let me state that I'm not a medical professional, but I believe that doctors do take an oath to save lives. So when you're signing up to be an organ donor, that is just indicating to Donate Life America or other organizations that are part of the transplantation process. Um, if you do become deceased, uh, that means that you are willing to save someone else's life with your organ. That does not mean that there's an organization or there are powers or forces out there hoping that you die. That is not the case. The important fact that you get from this is that organ donation saves lives. The doctors that are treating you presently are doing their very best to keep you alive and in good health. And we have to understand as African Americans that we have diabetes in high numbers. We have high blood pressure in high numbers. And those two things contribute to kidney disease. What you don't understand, I think what some people don't understand is that when your kidneys fail, essentially that is a death sentence. The reality is when your kidneys fail, you will die. So that's why it is so important to take care of our health. Stop smoking cigarettes, ease up on alcohol consumption, do all of those things that are right to keep your body in good health. Because I wouldn't wish kidney disease, renal failure, or having to go on dialysis on anyone. It is if you don't have a high tolerance for pain, or if you don't like pain, you don't want kidney disease, you want to stay in good health. I would say that one, you want to make sure that you are a registered donor, and you can go to registerme.org to sign up to be an organ donor. And secondly, I'd say you want to take the time to pray about your decision to give a life-saving organ. I think that it involves compassion. It involves a lot of deep thought. You want to talk to your family about this decision to save someone's life, to share your spare. It's an opportunity to give someone hope, and it's an opportunity to give someone life. You want to take serious consideration in making this decision.
Yes, I really love that tip because I think a lot of people see it, maybe even on when they go to motor vehicles, would you like to donate an organ, or they'll see it and maybe not think, or maybe think, well, yeah, I'll do it. But what you're saying is that it's a decision that you take seriously. Make sure that spiritually this is the right decision for you. You're making a decision to save someone else's life, and it's also a discussion that you can share with family members. So it's not a secret, so that people know what your thoughts are and your desires. I like that.
So I
Hmm.
would encourage folks to self-educate. There are so many organizations out there that have a lot of information that is helpful. For example, Donate Life America, the National Kidney Foundation, and the American Kidney Fund. Those are great resources for people who are in need of a kidney transplant. But of course, there are so many other organizations that assist people who are in need of a heart, lung, or pancreatic transplant. Um, I would say that you want to register at a transplant center, and you want to register at a transplant center that is near you locally, and you want to consider multi-listing, which means registering at other transplant centers outside of your area. For instance, I'm registered at Georgetown University Hospital, and I'm registered at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore and Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri. So that increases my chances to receive a kidney sooner than later.
Yeah, so those are some good tips. So I think I heard to be aware of the organizations that assist with this, be involved, do some research. And then also for the people, the viewers out there, is that you can register in multiple places. It looks like multiple jurisdictions, multiple states.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. Okay. And then lastly, tell us, how can we reach you? If I need to hear more information about you, or I want to support your cause in any kind of way, like how can we find you?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. My Facebook page is That Girl Needs a Kidney, Malkia S. White. And on Instagram, my profile names are That Girl Needs a Kidney _ Malkia and That Girl Needs a Kidney Resources. There, the difference between the two Instagram pages is the profile with my name is more personal, more personal photographs about me, but the resources page offers living donation basics, um, information about where you can register to become an organ donor. You can learn more about dialysis and chronic kidney disease. You can find copies of my messages on Twitter as well. And you can find videos on YouTube under That Girl Needs a Kidney.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us. Is there any last thing that you want to walk away with or share to our viewers?
I would just like to say thank you for listening, one, and I really do hope that this platform piques your interest in organ donation. And uh, if you could share this information with your family, friends, your civic organizations that you're involved with, that would be so helpful because there are so many people, thousands of people that need a second chance at life, and they need the hope that you would give them and the organ that you would give them.
Excellent. Once again, thank you, Malkia White, for being with us and educating us on National Minority Donor Awareness Month, the month of August. Thank you all for being with us, and we will see you again in September with that month awareness. Bye-bye.
Bye.